Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So for today's case I'm going to be talking to you about is Craig Hetherington's case. So at the time of his disappearance he was aged 22, missing from Geesborough in Cleveland, and he went missing on 22nd of the 2nd 2003. So the Teesside University engineering student was last seen wearing a black and white checkered long sleeve shirt with a white collar and cuffs. There was black cord trousers and black slip-on shoes with a silver bar. He also wore a DKNY silver watch on his right hand. The mother of a man who vanished 20 years ago says that the thought that she may never see him again makes her feel very sadder every day. Craig Hetherington from Geesborough was last seen in early hours of Saturday the 22nd of February 2003 on a night out in Middlesbrough. The final confirmed sighting was at 1 a.m. Outside the Corner House nightclub on Albert Road. The then 22-year-old was at a Teesside University engineering student. On the anniversary of his disappearance, his mum Sandra Flintoff said, quote, "Not a day goes by that I don't think of him. Every special day, like birthdays, Mother's Day, Christmas, when families choose to be together, I wonder where he is and if he's still alive, and whether he is still thinking of us. The older I get, the sadder it becomes at the thought that I may never see him again or get to know what actually happened to him." Sandra and Mr. Hetherington's stepfather Alan are being supported by Missing People charity as they launch a fresh new appeal for any information. In the weeks following his disappearance, the police said that there had been no reported sightings and no money had been taken from his bank account. The following year, his photograph was printed on milk cartons available all over the country. Mr. Hetherington is described as 6'2", blue eyes, small scars on the side of his left eye and also on his forehead. In 2007, his mum saw a man of a similar appearance in a background of a BBC television report covering floods that was in Leeds city centre, but officers were unable to trace him. On the 20th anniversary of his disappearance, she told ITV News Time Tees, quote, "5 years ago, I was diagnosed with blood cancer. I'm frightened that I am about to die before I see him. He had left the pub to go for a taxi, but actually disappeared after walking toward the River Tees and the A66. Mrs. Flintoff said, quote, "Craig had been to university that day. He handed in an assignment and then he came back and he said that he was meeting some of the boys and they were all going down to town that night, and his parting words to me were, 'Put some lasagna on a plate, Mum. I'll have it when I come in.' The lasagna was still there the next day. By the Sunday, I was getting really worried. We discussed it, and then on the Monday morning, I went and reported it to the police." She explained how the family trawled the streets handing out missing posters of Craig in bars, restaurants in the town, and following a milk bottle, which was a missing person campaign. She said the family were given false hope after possible sightings. She said a lady from Rotherham had rang in and said that she thinks she's seen him, and the police spoke to the young man in the flat, but they didn't think it was Craig, but they wanted me to come just to confirm it. This young lad just put his head over the banister at the top of the stairs and looked at me, and he just said, "I'm sorry, I am not your son, Mrs." It was very emotional, but it wasn't Craig. Alan Flintoff added, quote, "Craig was loved and we're desperate to get him back home. If there's anybody out there who can give us any information, one way or another, we'd be glad of that." A Cleveland police spokesperson said, quote, "We will always act on any new information that is provided and will welcome information from the public which may help us to find out what happened to Craig Hetherington. Anyone with information is asked to contact Cleveland Police on 101. Independent charity Crime Stoppers can be contacted anonymously by calling 0800 555 111. In 2007, BBC Breakfast covered floods in Leeds city centre. During broadcast of the incident, 3 men were shown in the background, one of which was resembling Craig, according to Sandra. Recalling the clip in 2012, in the interview with the Gazette, Sandra said, "It was surreal and quite emotional, really. It was such a short clip, but fortunately we have Sky, so we were actually able to rewind it." It's just that decision whether you think, is your mind actually playing tricks on you, or really whether this is your son and this is the break that we have been waiting for 9 years, she added. The police were informed and investigated that the clip, but sadly the 3 young men could not be identified.